Welcome to Choreography, a podcast about the greatest sport on ice, figure skating. I'm Wendy Buskey.
And I'm Adrian Buskey, and this is our NHK Trophy 2025 recap. So NHK is the fourth stop on the Grand Prix series, so the fourth Grand Prix qualifier, and this is where we start to see things really start to solidify. Ilya clinched last week, and that was to be expected, but we're really starting to see a number of the competitors start to lock their positions on the way to the Grand Prix final, and that is true for a few people at this particular event. And as usual, NHK is a delight.
It's always a delight. If I'm being honest, it's usually my favorite of the season, like the Grand Prix series. I mean, it's got the best gala almost every time. The Japanese crowd is just phenomenal. There's just so much good about it.
It's a terrific venue. Fantastic crowd response, so much support for everybody, and just so much enthusiasm for everybody on the ice. And what we saw here were a ton of really fantastic performances and some less fantastic. There was certainly, I'd say, like the men's event was a little underwhelming outside of the top few guys.
It was a lot of menning.
And I think that, like, you could say that 2/3 of the women were fantastic and then some of the other ones less so. But there were some pretty interesting results in, say, like ice dance that we'll get to, and some handful of skates I think are going to be some of my favorite from the season.
For sure.
That are really fantastic. So why don't we just go straight into the women's event, because I think that that's the one that capped off everything and had some pretty important and momentous skates at it.
It had the most tears. I'll say that. Mostly good ones, not all good ones, but a lot of good ones, particularly Kaori Sakamoto. My gosh, she was incredible. Short and long program. Had some tiny errors, like lost some levels on spins, had a cue on a jump in the free, but they were all things that are very much fixable. And this was her biggest score of the season. It's the biggest score of any woman now this season. And it's also her last NHK trophy.
As a competitor.
And I couldn't stop with the like misty-eyed, so much emotion.
Yeah. Kaori is just one of the greats of the sport at this point. She is Queen Kaori for a reason. She is phenomenal. So for her to be here at NHK in her final competitive season and to skate this well and to really, really lay down the gauntlet for all of the women to keep up with her for the rest of the season. Because notably, she comes out of here with a combined total of 227.18. That's a season's best for her. And that is, I think...
It's a 1/10 of a point over Ami Nakai.
A 1/10 of a point?
A 1/10 of a point.
Oh my gosh, a 1/10 of a point.
But it still makes her the leading women's scorer of the season.
That's incredible. And Ami Nakai was incredible in that first showing earlier in the Grand Prix series. And of course, then she also got a bronze last week. But Kaori here is just the class of the field. The skates are brilliant. These are exactly the kinds of programs you want to see from Kaori Sakamoto.
And they just keep getting better. Like these programs keep solidifying. She keeps getting more comfortable in them. And she's been talking a lot about, she is very aware of if she's going to capture that Olympic gold medal, she has to be flawless. Like she doesn't have an Ultra C. She has to count on the fact that she's so powerful. She has this incredible presence on the ice, and it has to be flawless, really, because you have people like Ami Nakai, Amber Glenn, Alyssa Liu, Moni Chiba.
And Adelia Petrosian, if she's at full power by the time that she gets there. Yeah.
Yeah. So she is very conscious of that and has been talking about like being frustrated with mistakes in practices. Like she is being hyper meticulous and is coming at this with a mission of being as perfect as possible, which admittedly scares me. But when I'm watching Kaori, it doesn't. I feel like she's got it. She knows who she is.
Yeah. And like you said, there are a small handful of mistakes here. Like very small. Like you said, she loses a level in the short program. I think there's an edge call in the short program as well, which is a little bit of a standard for her. And there is that one under rotation in the free.
It's a cue. Yeah.
One cue in the free. So if we look at the two scores, 77.05 in the short program, that is a terrific score. That is a season's best. I do believe that is 1 point behind what Ami Nakai got.
At Grand
Prix de France. The 150.13 in the free is also a season's best, not her personal best. I think her personal best is like a 155.
Yeah.
So you know that her personal ceiling is even higher than that.
But for this point in the season, it's incredible.
Yeah. So this is so strong. This is exactly what we want to see from Kaori, and just that improvement and that growth as you go on. I think we usually see the very best skaters scale up,
Yes.
and we often see skaters who are fresh out of juniors or don't know how to pace themselves kind of peak early and kind of blow themselves out.
Typically, yeah.
Yeah. So I think when we get to Grand Prix final, we're going to kind of get a better look at what that looks like for, say, Ami Nakai.
For sure.
Who I am assuming is going to be there.
She has locked it, yes. Because of what happened here, both Kaori and Ami are now 2 of the 6 that are going to be at the Grand Prix final in the women's event, which is really cool.
I think if we go into the second place position here, I think this is really exciting. Kazakhstan's Sofia Samoltakina is here in her only Grand Prix appearance this season.
Yes.
And I believe her Grand Prix debut as well.
Amazingly, yes. It feels like we've been seeing her for so long, and yet on the senior circuit, this is her Grand Prix debut, and a silver medal is nothing to scoff at there.
She performs terrifically here. Her programs are beautiful. She showcases all of the things that Sofia Samoltakina does really well. She has great secure jumps, lots of artistry, incredible sell. She's very, very charismatic on the ice. Her musical interpretation is very strong. She's now training in the States with Rafael Artunin, and you can see the impact of that. You could see how excited and proud he was. He traveled to Japan to be here for that, right? If you
and
know
Raph notoriously hates traveling.
Exactly. Yeah, he does not like to do that. So he's here with her and Torgashev, who doesn't do as well. So yeah, so Samo does a fantastic job here. She gets a 67.75 in the short, which is personal best, which she's really, really excited about. And she gets a 132.25 in the free. That is actually third in the free, but in combination, that gets her at an exact flat 200.
Yes.
200.00. You almost never see that happen. But that 200 mark is such an important mark for so many of the women. And so for her to hit that and then lock that, and she seemed very surprised
completely.
when she got that silver medal.
And so delighted. And also worth noting, her exhibition program, she got to flirt with Jun Wan Cha on the ice. So, I mean, she won everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like she was probably the envy of many a person when she gets him to just stand on the side and be the eye candy that she flirts with during her Britney Spears program. So yeah, well done all the way around to Sophia. Very, very cool stuff there. And then I think when you get third and fourth, it's
super close.
Oh my gosh, it's incredibly close. And I really felt like this could have gone either way.
Agreed.
But the third place finisher, the bronze, goes to Belgium's Luna Hendricks. And of course, Luna has been out of action for quite a while with injury. There was a real question mark about how she would perform when she got back. She locked that second Belgian spot at the Olympic qualifiers and looked strong there, but not perfect. And here, not so great in the short program. Still very good, but nervous, definitely. But commanding in the free skate.
Commanding in the free skate. And admittedly, I really like the choice of music she has in her short program because it is so different. Like she's doing a Celine Dion song and it fits her, but in a totally different way. And it helps because sometimes her programs can feel a little bit samey and these don't. Like she really tried to have some diversity in what she does. And she looks extremely well conditioned. She looks ready, but that free skate looked far more like we need her to compete and like continue to look in order to have a shot at that Grand Prix final or at a European title again. But regardless, that short program needs some love, and definitely it was a case of nerves. But overall, I think she looked great.
I think you're totally right that some of the last couple of seasons, her programs had just gotten very Euro dancey, and there just wasn't enough to differentiate them. There wasn't enough difference in the personality or the choreography or the music selection. And it's very Luna and it's very her team, but it needed to change. And she did make that shift.
I know. I keep smiling at Adrian because I'm realizing more and more this season that I need more Celine Dion on the ice. So I'm happy that she's bringing it to me because we're not going to get Josephine Chaliagard so sadly at the Olympics. So Luna, you're picking up the slack. More Celine.
Yeah. I think that free program from her is the best thing that we've seen Luna do in a really long time. She's obviously so much more comfortable and confident in that skate. The choreography is really interesting. She delivers it really well. Just all of her artistic interpretation, the way it's an unusual musical choice, I think, for her. And she really makes it work. And I very, very much enjoyed it. She comes out here with a 198.97. So she's barely more than 1 point behind Samolokina.
Yes.
So it is an extremely tight race between silver and bronze, but it's even tighter between her and the fourth place finisher, Korea's Young Yu, who comes out of here with the season's best total with a 198.82. So we're talking 0.15 behind Luna. I think the argument could be made that bronze probably should have gone to Young Yu. I think if you compare the free skates, Luna clearly wins.
Yes, for sure.
If you compare the short programs, Young clearly wins.
Yes.
And so when you combine those two things and it comes down to just that tiniest margin, it hurts a little because I really thought they were both terrific, but Luna's free. It's definitely better than Young Yu's here.
Yeah. I mean, they each had a place where they shined a little bit more. And regardless of placement, I'm just so happy to see Young Yu come here and look so strong in both programs. That alone is phenomenal. And I liked her little thumbs up at the camera at the very end of like the kiss and cry moment, just kind of giving the like, yeah, I'm moving in the right direction is how I interpreted that. And she got to skate in the gala. She was having a good time. It was just, she's had such an up and down few years and just a rough go of it for a while now. So seeing her have some success again, I hope that this is just the beginning of more to come. And also worth noting, as we are talking about a lot, it's all the competitions within competitions. It's interesting to see, she stayed well ahead of her Korean teammate, Asun Yoon here, who came in 7th, but also her score here was the highest any Korean woman has scored on the Grand Prix circuit so far in the first 4 competitions. Jia Shin this season has a score higher at a 208.45, but that was during the Challenger Series. So she is proving to be more of a factor for that second spot at the Olympics.
And I'm excited to see it. I'm a huge fan of Young Yu. I love her skating. Her point of view on the ice is so interesting. Looking at the scores here, she gets a season best in the short, in the free, in the total. That is a huge achievement for her.
And she choreographed her own free skate.
Yes. And that's the other thing I think is really exciting about it is that with also a shift to trading with Tammy Gamble in the US, I think you're seeing Young Yu kind of take hold of her own destiny a little bit.
Totally.
Like she's choreographing for herself. She's making some different choices. I think that this move for her has been very positive, and I'm very excited for what could potentially be in the future for her. But the biggest thing was just seeing the interviews with her where she said she didn't come in here looking for the podium. She was just trying to do the best she could to continue to level herself back up. And I think that she did that very, very well.
Yes.
I'm sure the closeness, that tiny margin that she lost the bronze will be very frustrating, understandably. And again, I think there's an argument that if you look at Luna's program had, I think, fewer triples. I don't think it was as quite as technical, but it was faster,
the skating skills.
Yeah.
Regardless, great job for Young Yu. I want to move on though to Sarah Everhart, who had a really rough week last week at Skate Canada. This week, she had some problems. It was not perfect, but I do think we saw improvement.
Yeah, the short program, I think, was even lower scoring here because she did have a fall.
Pretty close, though.
I think it was by 2 points lower. I want to say that she had
still small.
Yeah, because I want to say she had a 63 last week and a 61 this week.
Yeah.
But her free skate looked so much more secure. It looked so much more like the Sarah Everhart we expect to take the ice. One, she went back to the previous version of that Poor Things costume.
Hallelujah.
Yes, thank goodness. I think everybody had the feedback of, oh my gosh, get this thing off the ice, because last week's outfit was not it.
And I feel bad because I mean, it was very well made. It just did not work.
It didn't look like a skating costume. It looked like a costume, but not a skating costume. And it didn't help.
Yeah.
I guess is the way I would think
that's
about
a
it.
fair way to put it.
But what we saw here was just more confident, more competent, a little bit more showmanship, not an extravagant amount, but a little bit.
A little bit. And really, I just felt like she came into that free skate kind of on fire. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to come out here and prove to myself that this is working and I'm moving forward. And even listening to her interviews, she is such a composed young woman. She's so self-aware. She looked at Skate Canada and it wasn't like, woe is me. It was like, no, this proved the point to myself that I need to change some direction and work harder. And I just liked her approach, just very matter of fact and get things done. I also am finding it really funny to read her lips on the ice whenever something goes wrong.
She's clearly swearing.
She's clearly swearing, and
Yes.
it's very entertaining.
I think when you look at her score at 186.69, she was actually pretty happy about that in the kiss and cry. I actually thought the kiss and cry was pretty adorable because Ilya's mom is her coach with her there, and she's being totally adorable.
They
And
obviously have a really nice rapport.
Yeah. So that part's really fun. So I think that this is better stuff for Sarah. She is open about, one, her desire for the Olympics, and two, the awareness that it's an uphill battle for her to claim one of those spots. She knows that she's a dark horse and it'd be a real struggle to get one of them, but she is a really strong competitor and she's not giving up on it. And I love that for her.
Me too. But I have to admit, my favorite person here this time, other than maybe Kaori, who just melted my heart, was Yuna Aoki. I know we talked about her and gushed over her all over the place last week, and I'm going to do it again.
Yeah.
This woman is so special. It breaks my heart that she is very, very unlikely to make this Olympic team. It's Japan. I appreciate that, there are so many people that are going to get higher technical scores, but my gosh, she just owns that arena with her performance.
Yeah. Her short program has some troubles with the jumps, and that holds her back. I mean, she was like in 9th after the short, but her skating skills, her performance ability are undeniable. The choreographic interpretation is second to none. I mean, it is just phenomenal. But the La La Land free skate,
it's a masterpiece.
Absolutely. Just divine. I feel like I just didn't even know Yuna until like
3 years ago?
Yeah, something like that. Like, she showed up at Challenge Cup and was just phenomenal. And I was like, why have I not been paying attention to her? And, she almost retired after last season, and then she decided to stick it out. And so we get to have this additional season with her. I don't know how long she'll keep going, if this will be, the finish line. Every moment we get with her, I'm just so ecstatic for. The quality of her performance is just sublime. And the gala performance is also just beautiful. She is a delight. I don't have any criticisms to throw at her.
No.
Yeah, the jumps aren't always great. There's certainly any of a dozen ways that technically the programs would need to level up to be hyper competitive.
Of course.
But she comes in here in 6th after she's 5th in the free. She gets a 126.59. That's a personal best. So that's a really big moment for her. Comes out with a total of 183.31, which is still a very solid score. Top 6 is excellent, but more than anything, it's just that she is winning the crowd. And I hope that she has an incredible career as a professional skater.
As a professional skater, as a choreographer, as whatever she wants to do. And I just hope we get to watch.
And just looking at the trajectory of some of the Japanese skaters recently, if there is a free male ice dancer somewhere, if I was that guy, I would be throwing myself at Yuna Aoki.
Begging.
I would be like, come over to ice dance. Like, your interpretive ability is phenomenal.
We'll work on the rest.
Yeah, I'm sure you could make an incredible ice dancer out of her. Regardless, wonderful. Just loved them.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Rounding out the rest of the women's field, like I mentioned earlier, we had Asenyun in 7th. Anna Pizzetta, again, had kind of a rough competition. She just hasn't quite looked as good as she did last season.
Yeah, doesn't look as confident. A lot of falls. When her jumps are good, they're great. But when they're not she's down.
Exactly.
And there's just a constant look of despondence on her.
Yeah, there's like a dark cloud following her around.
And it makes me really sad because, Anna Pozzetta is a fantastic skater.
Yeah.
But, that case for Laurinaki Gutman to be that representative at the Olympics gets stronger every day.
I feel like it's near undeniable at this point. I think the thing that hurt the most here for sure was Wakaba Higuchi. She did not have a great short program at all. It was legitimately devastating. She missed her combo entirely. And as she came out, brave face, did an amazing Wonder Woman program for her free, was 8th in the free skate. It wasn't perfect, but I kind of feel the same way about like every moment we get with Wakaba is a good moment, but you can see that she is still struggling with those injuries. She is not able to train to get back to what we were seeing from her last season. And gosh, I hope that by Japanese Nationals, she's there. My heart is breaking because the idea of not having Wakaba on that Olympic team makes me want to cry. Like I was sitting and watching her in the kiss and cry, and I was the one crying, along with her. Like it's really tough.
The short program was really hard to watch. I loved her Wonder Woman program.
Oh, it's so good.
I like the musical arrangement. I like the way it builds. I love her costume and her Wonder Woman tiara. Everything about that is delightful. I mean, Wakaba is a gift on the ice. This just wasn't her best competition. And like you said, fighting injury is pretty hard in your final competitive season.
Yeah.
And also speaking of fighting injury, we now know that Elise Lynn Gracie has been fighting a hip injury for quite a while, which could explain why she looks so distracted on the ice a lot of the time, that she's fighting a lot of pain. She lands in 10th here. She's 8th after the short, 10th after the free, 162.41, well back. This has obviously not been the season Elise was looking for. And obviously the Olympics is not the only thing, right? Like it sometimes dominates the conversation and the thought process of everything in skating. But for somebody like Elise, she should have a much longer career past this season, as long as she's healthy. So, and she's not in that mix, in that conversation for the Olympic team. So what I'm hoping is that she's pacing herself to just be strong through the season, to get healthy, and to just level herself back up and rebuild herself. Skates like this are really unfortunate and uncomfortable, but my hope is that the future holds really good things for her.
Agreed. I do want to, before we move on to the dance competition, mention that Canada's representative here, Catherine Medlin Spence, came in 11th, did fine. It wasn't amazing skates, but you could tell that she was just overjoyed to be there and getting the opportunity and the honor of being at NHK and getting named to it.
She was making her Grand Prix debut at like age 26 or something. 25. That's a big deal. And
huge.
To do it in Japan, everyone wants to go to Japan.
Incredible. But the reason I specifically wanted to call it out too is that while NHK was going on, there was another competition going on called Ice Challenge, where both Gabby Daleman and Kaya Reuter were competing. And they went gold, silver. And that's great. But the significance of that is Gabby Daleman ended up with a 181.04. That is 9 points higher than Maddie Skeezes' highest score this season. I think that means it is the highest score of any Canadian woman so far on the international scene so far this season. Kaya Reuter almost tied with Maddie Skeezes' high score this season. So that wondrous Canadian field of women and men are going to keep confounding us until we get to Canadian Nationals in January, because I have no idea what's going to happen. It is just getting more and more like anyone's game.
And neither Gabby nor Kaya have Grand Prix appearances. So a lot is going to be decided for the Canadians at Canadian Nationals, I think. But I mean, Gabby Daleman returning, and she's been just doing every competition she can get into, getting those international points, and just looking better all the time.
Just building and building.
So I'm going to be very curious to see what the Canadian Fed decides to do. If they stand by Maddie Skeezes as just sort of their flag bearer, or if they recognize the sheer erraticness that she has and go with somebody like a Gabby Daleman who has a potential at higher numbers. I don't know. It's going to be really
it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to the dance. And I don't think to anyone's surprised that the gold went to Lila Fear and Lewis Gibson.
This dancing competition, of course, has, I would think, two major conversations happening around it. One is that we are seeing a rematch of Fear and Gibson versus Italy's Guinard and Fabry, right? And that is something that has been a hot topic within this world as Fear and Gibson have kind of surpassed the Italians over the last couple of seasons.
And now it's becoming a consistent theme.
Right. And then, of course, for US fans in particular, but people who have just been longtime Ice Dance fans, the other object of interest here is the debut finally of the Shib Sibs, of Maya Shibatani and Alex Shibatani, who have returned to competition after 7 years and kind of made a big splash about it earlier this year about coming back, and then didn't appear at any event before this one. And of course had that video that came out that showed him berating her for like 40 minutes on practice ice that kind of put a sour taste on people's mouths. So this was going to be a very highly scrutinized event just to kind of see what was going to go on with them. But yeah, that Fear and Gibson take this is absolutely no surprise. And they looked awesome.
They looked great. And I think that these programs keep looking better. This wasn't as high as the score they got at Grand Prix de France, but at the same time, I actually think they performed them better. They looked super solid. These programs are really, I think, getting fleshed out into what their final form is going to be. I don't have a lot of notes. I thought that they did a really great job. Particularly Lewis here just looked really on to me. What is unfortunate, though, is that like Charlene and Marco in silver were fabulous, but they were coming in at a disadvantage because during early practices ahead of the competition, Charlene and Marco had a huge collision with Utano Yoshida and Masaya Morita from Japan. And Charlene was fighting through pain through this whole competition that she said just kept progressively getting worse.
Yeah. When that first happened, there was misinformation that had spread around saying that Charlene had been knocked unconscious. That did not actually happen, but it did bowl over both of the Japanese skaters. Charlene went down hard and she did sustain an injury. So she was skating through this entire event, I think, in a lot of pain. They did not skate at the gala, I think, because of that. And considering that circumstance, not the only injury to come out of this event.
No.
And considering that circumstance, I think that their performance getting them into a second place slot here is commendable. I think that the comparison between Fear and Gibson and Grenard and Fabry always comes down to like Grenard and Fabry are a superior skating skills team.
Absolutely.
Their technical ability is fantastic. There's just so much that they do that is intricate and difficult and beautifully done, but they don't have the showmanship and the crowd appeal and the speed and energy that Fear and Gibson have.
I think the speed is arguable, but I agree with the energy.
Grenard and Fabry's rhythm dance has a little bit of a Hello Fellow Kids problem as far as that Backstreet Boys. They sell a little bit more mature, and that program does feel
a lot younger.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of unfortunate. I think there was better musical choices that could have been made that would have suited them better.
Totally
I love their outfits, but
I think they're very cute, but I think they're exhibition outfits.
Yeah, I agree. And I do think that, when you see that's a 5-point deficit behind Fear and Gibson's Spice Girls program, which to me looked a lot better here. I have not been a big fan of that Spice Girls program through the course of this season, but I thought it was stronger here. And I actually really liked Grenard and Fabry's Free here.
Yes.
I thought that was a much better showcase for them than we've seen in a while. They got better scores at this event than what they had gotten previously. And I think that what you saw from them was an understanding of why they didn't get fantastic scores, because they know that they're skating at a disadvantage.
Yeah. I mean, there were no huge errors, but they definitely looked tight through this. And it's understandable. Like Charlene's in pain at the end of the program. She just stops. And she looked like she had started crying. Like she was in pain.
Yeah.
And Marco was just trying to help comfort her and make sure that she was all right.
Yeah.
So them doing as well here, getting their season's best in that free skate and only being 2 points behind Fear and Gibson, I'm sure they would have loved to have surpassed them, and maybe at their best they would have, but they just were at a disadvantage.
If I have an actual legit favorite out of this competition, though, it is the Americans in the bronze place, Carolyn Green and Michael Parsons. They had a disaster at their last competition where they had a fall in the rhythm dance, which caused a injury to Michael's pelvis. So they had to withdraw from the free skate. They were on the practice ice for it and just couldn't do it, and had to withdraw. And that was a devastating blow for both their chances at trying to make the Grand Prix final, but also that hunt for that Olympic spot. You know? And coming in here, the question was going to be, are these programs going to come together? Are they going to showcase the way that they want to? And the answer is yes, they absolutely did. They were fantastic.
The answer is hell yes, they did. Like, the rhythm dance was great, but I did feel them just, I would call it being a little careful.
Yeah, it's a bit cautious.
Understandably.
Yeah.
It still was phenomenal, but the past 2 times we've seen it, it's had problems. So this is the best we've seen it so far easily. And they just looked relieved to get through it.
Yeah. And notably, season's best on that, they got a 75-14. That is just a shade more than a point behind Grenard and Fabry. So for them,
nice and close.
Yeah, that's very, very close. It's still quite a ways back from Fear and Gibson, but being that close to the Italians is pretty notable.
It is. Their free dance is exquisite and so unique. And I think, honestly, quite brave to do something that is rather avant-garde and extremely different for their Olympic season. But it suits them. They open with a pair spin in positions that I've never seen. That's so unique. It's beautifully done. And that could be said of a lot of what they do throughout this program. It suits them perfectly.
There are 3 things that I think Green and Parsons do really, really well. 2 of them they showcase in galas. Either they do things like Sunset Boulevard, where you get this very theatrical thing like they did at the gala here, and it's wonderful. Or they do humor. They're actually very, very capable of humor, particularly when you look at Carolyn Green's expressiveness and the kind of character work that she can do. But the thing that they do best is very modern, kind of abstract, unique dance work. And a few seasons ago, they were doing stuff that I'd never seen anybody do before. You know, just really, really unique lines.
Just interesting shapes.
Yes. And for a couple of seasons, we haven't seen that. And I've been waiting for them to go back to something that feels more authentic to who they are. And I feel that free dance that they did here is authentic to the Green and Parsons brand as I understand it. And you know, some people in the comments talk about how in like our last episode, because I'd mentioned how like Piper and Paul are just aesthetically usually not my kind of thing. And Piper Gillis and Paul Poirier from Canada, they have a more classic kind of style. And some people just really prefer that.
Understandably.
Like, I just lean far more modern. I mean, that it's just my personal interest. And so when I see Green and Parsons go out and do something like they do in that free dance, that hits my buttons really strongly. And seeing them get a 112.56 season's best, 187.90 total, also season's best all the way across the board for them here. Absolutely terrific. And getting on the podium here, big deal in this season.
It's a very big deal. Like, if you look at their scores in the grand scheme of like US teams, they're still behind Zingis and Kolesnik's massive score a few competitions ago. And they're behind Christina Carrera and Anthony Ponomarenko's last competition in the Grand Prix, but it's close with them. So I feel like they're making sure that they are staying in that mix and in the conversation, because they're essentially the 3 teams that I perceive are going to be fighting for that Olympic spot, especially after seeing kind of the response to the Shibatanis here.
Yeah, that's a very notable thing for sure. Moving down the rest of the ranking here, in 4th, you have the Czech team of Nat Toslerova and Filip Toshler, the sibling team from Czechia. I love this team. I love these programs. I really, really enjoy that Matrix program. I think that's terrific.
It's their rhythm dance for me. Like that whole Jennifer Lopez, Enrique Iglesias, the drop in the middle of it, like
so
out
good.
of nowhere.
Oh my God, that's so good. Yes. I love the choreography from them. They just don't feel like anybody else. Like their interpretations are so interesting. I really enjoyed their gala program as well. They did struggle a little bit in the free, just a few. I mean, struggling in ice dance is often minute, tiny little issues, because they were 6th in the free, but they still held 4th based on the strength of that rhythm dance. I think 4th is still a really nice placement for this team here. I just always enjoy seeing their point of view on the ice. They're such a fun team.
They are.
And it's also great that they were here with their Finnish besties and training mates, Yuka Orihara and Juho Pirinen, who didn't perform as well here. But I just know that all of them traveling together and getting to perform together is a big deal. And it's super fun to see them together.
It's adorable. What is really interesting is that in 5th place, we have Katarina Wolfskosten and Dmitry Sarevsky from the US. This is their first senior Grand Prix season. Coming in 5th here, ahead of the Shibatanis, is really significant.
Very significant. And I think they performed very, very well.
They did. They were fourth in the free dance.
Yes. I mean, their improvement over the course of the season has been surprising.
Dramatic.
I think that when this team came together a couple of seasons ago, because if I remember, I think Katarina was Jeffrey Chen's partner one point, and then shifted over to Dimitri. And so they haven't been together really all that long. And usually it feels like it takes a long time to rise up the ranks in ice dance. And this season, they've just made a pretty surprising move. They've been doing really well at every event that they go to and have really been making a case from themselves. And I mean, I feel like they're really like a next quadrennial team.
Agreed.
But they're already just showing off some really solid skills and really good performances.
I think that Kill Bill program in particular, their free dance, it's just more mature than a lot of teams fresh out of juniors. The choreography works really well for them. I don't love her dress with the big blood splatter look.
I kind of like it, but I know that it's polarizing.
It's not my fave, but I really like them. So I'm very impressed with how well they're doing this season, and it's good. It's just good.
The rhythm dance is solid, and they made the correct choice to change his costume because when we saw them, I think it was, I can't remember if it was Lombardia or Nebelhorn or something. We saw them and he had a jacket with it, and it was too busy. It was really, really busy, and the colors clashed a little bit. And so losing that, the outfit looks a lot better, not as distracting. And yeah, I've really liked those programs. I do like that Kill Bill program an awful lot. I think it's really interesting that we have a couple of Kill Bill programs this season.
Yeah, my favorite is still Hana Yoshida's, but she just hasn't done it clean yet.
Yeah.
I'm waiting.
But for Wolf Kostin and Cerveski to top 5 here and best the Shibutani siblings in their re-debut, that is a really solid statement about the quality of this team and the judges' reaction to both of those teams, respectively.
Yeah, I mean, I want to talk about Alex and Maya here. Obviously, it was a very big deal, them coming back, Olympic bronze medalists. They are very, very beloved to a lot of people. It's been controversial with their comeback. There's all this talk, but there was nothing visible yet. So we didn't know what we were going to see. Their rhythm dance was fine, but I will call it uninspired. It was Dance Dance Revolution themed, which was, I thought, fun. Their costumes just made me think that they were in warm-up gear.
I think that everybody thought it was warm-up gear. I think everybody was surprised that when they actually took competitive ice in those costumes that were like, oh, this is what you're competing in? Yeah.
And I mean, to a certain degree, I always love challenging the norms. So, I mean, it didn't necessarily bother me. It just surprised me. It was more just watching them. It wasn't that they were bad. It just didn't feel as, in terms of what we're used to seeing from teams, it didn't feel as highly technical. And I'm sure it's hard to even look at them, one-to-one, because they had to change so much of what they had been doing because the scoring system is so different now. Ice dance just is different now. And it didn't quite work. So I think when they got their score and they saw how low it was, you could see a visible response from both of them in a little bit of shock in the kiss and cry. It was obvious disappointment.
Yeah. And they had some errors.
They did.
And they weren't massive errors, but they lost levels kind of all over the place. I think notably Alex looked a little stronger than Maya. Maya's footing wasn't always quite on. It just didn't feel like a very inspired program overall. They have a ton of charisma on the ice.
Oh, they always have.
As soon as they start, they really just light up. And so they're enjoyable to watch. But when you were looking at what the teams ahead of them were doing, it didn't feel as strong. But very clearly, they were not ready for the score that they got in the rhythm dance.
No.
And they also made the choice to skate their free dance to Coldplay's Fix You, which of course is the song that they skated to at the Olympics 7 years ago and is kind of their iconic program.
Yep.
And so they were doing a updated version designed by the current rule set and requirements. The reaction that I saw online from the fandom, there was, some people who were just like, oh my God, we get to see it again. That's so exciting. And that was maybe like 20% of the response that I saw. Most of what I saw were people saying, oh my gosh, you're choosing Coldplay's Fix You in 2025. That feels so stale. Why are you going back to, after 7 years, you couldn't think of something new to do?
I think they were going for the sentimental vote. And I get that.
Sure.
But I agree. I mean, I've watched that Fix You program from the Olympics many times. fact, it's very, very good. Watching it again here, it wasn't that I didn't enjoy it.
No, it was actually pretty good.
It was. But again, when you're comparing that to what the teams ahead of them were doing, I felt like it was a pretty obvious, like, okay, this isn't there yet. And it may get there, but it's already the 4th Grand Prix. They should have, in my opinion, they might not have been ready for it. I feel like they missed opportunities by not going to challengers, getting that judge feedback earlier so that they could continue to level it up so that by the time they were at NHK Trophy, it was in a better state.
Well, notably, they didn't go to Champs Camp. So
Right.
They didn't get, as far as we know, any direct feedback from a panel to say what you're doing is what is being sought this season.
Right. And it's really hard to look at this, and sometimes it is just vibes and you're like, this isn't it.
Yeah.
And it was very obvious in the room. And they saw their free dance score and they shared a long stare that felt like a knowing stare.
Yeah. It's tough to kind of interpret sometimes, like what you see, especially when it's nonverbal like that.
Exactly.
But I think what that look kind of says is that realization of, we are going to slot in as the 3rd ranked American team here. And we thought we were going to come in as the competitive for the podium team. And that did not happen.
Yeah.
They come in 6th here with a 180.5. That is 2 and change behind Wolf Kostin and Savetsky. And 2 points is a fairly large margin in ice dance sometimes. I mean, there's a spread here for sure, but the Toshlers are just 1 point above them. But Green and Parsons are a full 7 points ahead of the Shibatanis. So This is not the outcome they were looking for. I felt like that Coldplay program would have been a fantastic gala.
Yes, if they wanted to bring back that nostalgia, that to me, I agree. I hadn't even thought of that, but yes.
And I thought that their gala program was gorgeous.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
And if they had done something like that for their free skate instead and built it specifically for the modern judging and requirements and moment, that might have worked better.
And just brought something fresh.
Yeah.
Like, it's 7 years. I want to see something new.
Because I really did like the gala. I thought their gala skate was gorgeous.
It was.
Overall, their competitive programs just weren't super compelling.
No.
I mean, they were 5th in the free, which put them a little ahead of the Toshlers. But again, the Toshlers' rhythm dance just kept them more competitive and kept them in 4th. So
we're going to see them again in Finland. We'll see what progress gets made between now and then. It's only 2 weeks, but there may be some progress. When I was watching them, all I could think was, okay, if we're just basing it on today, they're not getting that Olympic spot. However, that's January. And if you've seen any of the Olympic ads, Maya and Alex are already in a lot of them. So this was probably not the outcome that the US Fed also wanted, but it's still entirely possible that they get on the Olympic team. So it was definitely an underwhelming score and not the results they wanted. And it puts them at a disadvantage. I'm using that word again, going into the rest of the season, but they're not out of it.
Well, and so much of the chatter in figure skating online spaces about this team is that they returned the season of the Olympics, slotted right into all of the promo stuff for the US Fed, and to a degree, I think the ISU as well has kind of stuck them in things. They more than likely have taken sponsorship money as part of that to appear in all those things, I would imagine. I'm not sure.
I saw that they're in Delta ads with Amber Glenn and several other Winter Olympians.
Yeah, they just sort of stepped in and then just like took a chunk of that pot away from some of the other U.S. skaters who have been competing for the last 7 years. And that is going to leave a sour taste in people's mouths. I mean, I was critical of them this summer whenever they first made that announcement because I'm not a big fan of comebacks, generally speaking. And I had a few people who were fairly mad at me because of that I dared to be critical of the Shib Sibs. I think that narrative's changed a little bit now for like some pretty uncomfortable reasons, as far as that video. But the bigger thing is what they did on the ice. And unlike, say, Cicerone and Fournier Boudre coming out and just being incredibly dominant, what we have to start with, our baseline for the Shib Sibs now, is not hyper competitive.
No, it's not. And I do want to mention they did acknowledge that video and how unfortunate it was. And Alex said that he has apologized to Maya and that he was very embarrassed and felt really bad about it. And take that for what you will. I just hope she is doing well and we'll go from there. it's still a very uncomfortable thing.
The rest of the way down here, you've got some more like middling results for the German team of John Sven Rensburg and Stefan. Always a nice team, but not as memorable as some of the others. Very, very memorable performances from Yuka Orihara and Juho Pirinen from Finland.
Especially that free dance. Oh my God, their Moulin Rouge free dance.
The Moulin Rouge free dance is, as so many people have called it online, unhinged.
I love it.
In the best way. It's so fun. It worked so much better here than when the first time we saw it. I think it was at maybe Nepola. I just remember the first time we saw it, like there were elements of it that really didn't work very well at all. And this time it came together. This is not a team that's out there skating for big points. They are skating for entertainment value. And they definitely win on that. Also did a really charming Mary Poppins program in the gala that was adorable.
So cute. Also, I just want to give a shout to Alicia Fabry and Paul Ayer. They might not get the big scores, but I thought they were lovely here.
I love that free dance. I'm very frustrated with the way Fabry and Ayer got scored here. I know that they are not the most articulate team on the ice when it comes to all of their skating skills. They're not super highly competitive, but they have done better than this season. This was a fairly low scoring event overall for ice dance. And I really, really enjoyed their free dance. I thought it was lovely. Didn't get the score that I thought that it should have. And just a little frustrated about how that came down with them because it didn't look messy or anything to me.
No.
I'm guessing it just lost levels all over the place, but I would have liked better for them.
Me too. Before we move on to men's, I do want to mention one other thing because you mentioned Fournier-Boudre and Cizeron. Laurence Fournier-Boudre is now a French citizen, so we will be seeing them at the Olympics.
Yeah, hell surprise.
No one
we all knew
surprised.
that was going to get fast tracked. That was a done deal from the beginning of their announcements. Yeah.
Yes,
it's not like in America where you can be here for 10 years and they're like, oh, I don't know if we'll give you a passport.
Oh my gosh. We're all holding our breath for Christina Carrera right now.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So let's make the jump over to the men's event where I think the top two really stand out.
The top two absolutely were wonderful. The incomparable Yuma Kageyama did take the gold medal, but not by much, like less than 2 points ahead of his countryman, Shun Sato, who had the best competition I've seen from him this season. And that's saying something because he's been killing it this season.
I think Shun's performances are actually the stronger of the two. I think
at this event, I agree. Yeah.
Yuma wins based on all of the additional humaness. That was not planned.
You owe me a Coke.
Yeah. Yes. Everything that makes up the matrix of the Yuma Kageyama experience is why he wins here.
And it's beautiful. The Yuma Kageyama experience I could watch every day.
And notably, Shun Sato, I think, has a triple-double somewhere. I think he doubles a jump. And I think
so, but I can't remember for sure, so I do not want to claim that.
The only mistake that he makes, if I'm correct about it, and if he does, that's the difference between gold and silver for him. I think it's like that one jump. I think in his free, I think there's one because he's almost flawless otherwise.
He is so strong here. And yes, like we always talk about, he doesn't have the like up and out warm embrace. Like watching Yuma Kageyama is like getting a big hug from the ice. Like he's just so beautiful. He's got so much charm. His skating is like poetry. It is just so smooth and graceful and beautiful. And Shun is precise. Yeah. He is so on point. And yes, it is sometimes a bit emotionless, but that doesn't mean it's not beautiful and really, really well done and super entertaining. So Shun definitely, to me, had the performances of the competition, but Yuma is just Yuma. And it's pretty hard to beat Yuma unless you're named Ilya Malinin.
They both get season's best in the short, and both of their shorts are dynamite. You know, they look really, really strong. In the free, Shun actually wins the free by a point.
As he should, yeah.
Because Yuma has a fall.
He has a fall and just a few scratchy spots, but I mean, that Turando program is already iconic and will be memorialized somewhere in figure skating history. It just wasn't perfect here, but it was still incredible. It just wasn't as on point as Shun's.
Both of those programs from Yuma are designed in a lab to be Olympic legendary programs.
If you could just say, if you put it into ChatGPT and said, make me Olympic programs, this is what they would make you, accept it'd be ChatGPT, so it would not be nearly as good. So
right, yeah.
But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, they're astounding. Like, I know that we're just excited for that opportunity. If he skates them well at the Olympics,
that's all I want.
Regardless of what medal he gets,
I don't care.
They're going to like go down as some of the great programs ever.
Yes.
It just wasn't entirely flawless in that free skate. And, Shun, again, I think that you put it well. He's extremely precise. He is not as showy as Yuma.
Much more reserved.
Yes. And I think that performance quality is a big part of why Yuma works on the ice, but he has all the rest of it to back it up. But yeah, so here, I'm not mad about how it shakes out by any means.
Not at all. But
I do think that Shun's skates were actually kind of better.
It's a subjective thing, but I do think, to me, Yuma still won, but it was by like itty tiny little bit.
Just like it shows on the scores.
Just like it shows on the scores.
Yeah.
Third place, Lucas Britschke. And I think that was kind of by default.
Yeah, that's just, it was anyone's game.
Yes.
After that. Like, really, you could have just tossed the rest of the guys up in the air.
Yeah, there's like
however
1,
they
2,
landed.
3, 4. I'd say there's the 3 guys behind him and him. You could have tossed a coin.
Yeah.
And it could have been any of them.
I would have been happy to have seen Adam Hagara in that third spot.
Adam Hagara, what a great job you did.
Yes. Slovenia's Adam Hagara lands back in 6th, and we're getting out of order here.
Sorry.
But he had some of the best skates. He had the 4th in the free skate, and just overall, I found his skates kind of more memorable. But, Lucas is a terrific skater. He is our reigning European champion. He comes in here with a 246.94. That is 40 points back from the gold and silver spot. But, Lucas is a undeniably charming skater. He has a lot of charisma. He has big jumps, so he has the technical. It's often kind of messy. He's not very consistent, and it's been kind of hit or miss this season. But I think that if you had said going into this would be your podium, nobody had been surprised. I think Lucas was probably your most expected for that position, with the exception of, say, Junwon Cha. But of course, he's had a very inconsistent and difficult season. So with Lucas here, it's fine.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's by default. I think it's just that like none of the other guys rose to the challenge in this particular competition, which is why a 246 gets him on the podium.
Yeah. I was happy to see that Boyang Jin stayed up in 4th place. Like, he's been having a pretty consistent overall season. Like, he doesn't have, and he never has had, the overall like flow, and
he doesn't have great skating skills.
No,
he's a jumper.
He's a jumper, so he doesn't have that like Lucas Britschke or Junwon Cha. My God! But what he did have, he did really well here, and was 4th in the short, 5th in the free, 4th overall, and it's just heartening to see that after all these years, Boyang can still stay in it.
Yeah.
As someone who is long in the tooth, is that the phrase?
That's the phrase, yep.
I like seeing people who are over 25 still in the mix here.
Yeah, and I'll say Boyang's free is really nice. I can't give it a lot more than that.
No, it's just nice.
It's very watchable.
Junwon Cha, he came in 5th here, was 3rd after the short, cracked the 90 mark. I was really hopeful, like, okay.
It was looking good.
It was looking
good. We're going to turn it around.
And then he was 10th in the free. And you could see it before he even started.
Yeah, he took the ice with a face that said, this is not going to go well.
Yeah, and I know he has been struggling all season with boot issues and just equipment issues. He obviously just doesn't look himself. We've been watching June for a long time now. We know what June looks like when he's nervous or when he's excited or when he's really confident. And this just looks defeated. Before he even started, it was like, oh no, this isn't going to happen.
Yeah, it's a real shame. And the difference is looking at him in the gala where he looks like June.
Yeah.
Where all of that charm and that confidence and that incredible performance quality comes out in the gala. And so you see what you want to see from Junwon Cha there that you didn't see in the free skate. He comes out here with a 230.26. That is an abysmally low score
for him. Yeah.
And it's a shame because Junwon is just such a fantastic performer, a fantastic skater. I just want him to figure out what the problem is.
Desperately.
Because this guy should have been on the podium
for sure
here. especially after what he did in that short program. So
I know.
It's just getting deeper into the season, and it isn't improving, and it's frustrating because I just love this guy's skating. I just want him to get it together.
Me too. Sixth place is Adam Hagara, as we mentioned earlier. He is just getting better all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so happy for him. Like, he seems like the sweetest, nerdiest, most adorable guy.
Computer science major.
I love it. And he comes out there and is obviously just so happy to be there, so in the moment. I don't know. I have like a soft spot for Adam Hagara, so I'm very happy to see him do as well as he did here.
Yeah, he brought back his James Bond free skate from last year, which I think is an interesting interpretation because it uses the James Bond music without him trying to role play as Bond.
Yeah.
Which is like, I always feels like a very like Rio Nakata kind of way of approaching something. And they're friends, so I think that's kind of funny. But like Rio would come in be Bond, and that's not what Adam is doing in this particular instance. He was 9th in the short program, but he was 4th in the free. And for a guy that is just kind of on the come up, you know, he's a future skater. This is a very nice showing. He got invited to the gala. He did a great performance there. That is such a nice thing for him to just kind of put in his cap as well. So very, very excited for the future for this guy. You know, he's not going to be super competitive this season, but this is still just really nice work and a good, confident showing overall.
I want to spend some time before we move on to our last discipline on the men from the United States. We have Andrew Torgashev and Jimmy Ma here. They ended up in 9th and 10th, respectively. Andrew Torgashev's free skate might have been, I don't want to say the final nail in the coffin for his Olympic dream, but it's not good. And it worries me because I am a fan of Torgs, but also aware that this season has not been going well. And I was really hoping we're going to see something better here. And unfortunately, that free skate, I've never seen him so emotional in a kiss and cry. You could see how aware he was of this could have further implications than just this competition in a very big way.
When the U.S. Fed picks its team after nationals, whoever wins nationals is on the team.
Yeah.
And, you know, your obvious choice is Ilya as long as he's healthy and nothing goes wrong for that spot. But after that, it becomes about consistency and performance over not just this season, but the last couple of seasons.
Right.
And while Torgashev has had some pretty brilliant moments over the last couple of seasons, what he consistently does is fail at the biggest moments.
Yeah.
He has had 2 seasons where he has completely choked at Worlds. And this season, he has just consistently fallen apart, particularly in his free. And
it's heartbreaking.
It's really tough to watch somebody who's as good as he is because particularly his footwork is just astounding. His choreo sequences are always intense and interesting and well put together, but he is not keeping those programs together. And he was 8th after the short, which was already not great, but he was
still okay. Still not bad.
Yeah, but he was 11th in the free, and it was a disaster. It lands him in 9th overall, but he scores a 2:12.01. Like, that is just, you know, we've been talking about the last couple of episodes about Tomoki Hiwatashi being suddenly consistent this season and
out of nowhere,
and pretty consistently scoring in the mid to upper 240s.
Well, kinda. It's really 230 to around 245 is his high.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And while that's not a terrific score in the grand scheme of things,
it still keeps him in the mix and has been, again, consistent.
Yeah, I mean, he could have almost beaten Lucas Bridgke at this event.
Yeah,
you know? But
he would have been 4th at this event with that 245.
Yeah,
so yeah.
But a Torgashev 2:12 here in his second Grand Prix outing.
It's concerning. And I mean, he could come through and have the best competition at nationals and have some good challenger events, which I hope he does. So it's not like it's over here, but this is a tough one. This was a rough pill to swallow.
I think it's also notable to say that Jimmy Ma came into this event looking like a guy who'd said, you know what, there's no way I'm going to make the Olympic team. So screw it. I'm going to throw away that free skate that I have not been doing very well. And I'm going to do something ridiculous, at least for the Japanese crowd, that almost says, hire me to do shows, because that's what it felt like.
That's exactly what it felt like. It messed with my brain. I immediately, upon him finishing his free skate,
to Macho Man, YMCA, It's Raining Men.
I think there was one other,
There's
but
at least one other.
I've forgotten.
I almost felt like it was like 6 different songs. It was this like
it was wild. I immediately opened my phone to look at Instagram, desperately hoping that he had done an interview with Golden Skate that I could read why. Like, why did this happen? And Mark Henretti was doing the commentary. Always love Mark. He's lovely. And he talked about Jimmy saying that the Nessun Dorma just didn't feel true to him. So it wasn't working. So he needed to find something else. But something else and what he threw down here don't feel like the same thing. And I 100% agree with you. And I think Mark even said something to this effect.
I think Mark spent a lot of time talking about how he felt that this was Jimmy just throwing the competitive season away and just saying, I'm going to be a show skater, and hey, Japan, you should hire me for your tours.
And they should. Jimmy's wonderful and one of the most fun skaters to watch out there. And he might have just said, you know what? That's what this is for the rest of the season. I'm just going to have fun and do something crazy. He said that Rudy Galindo's, if you're familiar with Rudy Galindo, he was a former U.S. national champion, brilliant skater, that his YMCA exhibition that he used to do all the time, which I'm sure you can find on YouTube if you've never seen it.
Yeah, but that was the inspiration.
But that was the inspiration for this, which is fascinating. Love Rudy Galindo. I was a big fan of his. It's just where this came from. I'm just like baffled and obviously still a little scrambled from it. So I'm going to stop talking because I don't have words. I've used all my words.
I mean, he did better than Torgashev.
In the free? Yes, he did, because he was fun.
He was 9th in the free.
Because he was fun.
Yeah.
And the crowd, to be fair, the crowd ate it up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was just giving them a good time, and that's all it was. It was a good time skate. But
Jimmy Ma is a good time.
Yeah, but it really did feel like a threw in the towel on the competitive season, and it felt kind of odd. I don't know how to feel about that.
Before we move on, in reference to that, I do want to bring back up the fact that there was that other competition going on.
Ice Challenge.
Where we saw Max Namov, on the other hand, kill it. Cracked 90 with a personal best in the short program, ended up with a 246.7 to win the gold there over Jacob Sanchez, who had a 235.89.
So a score that was just behind what Lucas Bridgsky got bronze here with.
Yep.
But that short program in particular, really, really nice. So Max is making his case. Also, I guess Keegan Messing was actually at that and placed in 4th.
Yes.
But he was down with a 218.41. So
he's still working. We'll see how, again, with that Canadian Nationals, I don't know what to think at all about
but
that.
218 is certainly not going to compete with Roman or Gogo, because both of them have been doing at least marginally better than that.
Yeah, so we're going to see how that goes.
So, yeah.
All right. Let's wrap this up with the pairs. And we're going to talk about Sarah Conti and Niccolo Macchi surprising themselves, but not really anyone else, by taking this. And I think they did it in really strong fashion for this point in the season.
You could pick apart their programs a little bit as far as a couple of little errors here and there, but the performance quality of what Conti and Macchi were bringing here, the connection that they have to each other on ice, the way that they interpret the music, the storytelling in it, I think it's just really strong. I really enjoy watching this team.
So much more than I have ever. And I've always liked them, but I was losing a little bit of hope a few seasons ago, and the past 2 seasons, they've just keep getting better and better.
Really beautiful quality on the ice, and it's just so nice to have real competition in pairs right now.
Absolutely.
And, they clearly did not think they were going to win.
No.
Because after the short program, they were in 2nd behind China's Sui and Han. And the Hungarians, who actually came in 2nd here, gave them a real run for their money, much closer than I would have expected, and much closer, I think, than they might have expected. But overall, Conti and Macchi, I do think were the best team here. They barely edge out the Hungarians by a little bit more than a point. And we've talked before about how the Hungarians often feel like a perennial 4th place team. For a couple of years, they were just always in that sort of 4th place position.
But they've rebranded.
They did. They've had a real, it's almost like they leaned themselves down into a more traditional kind of look.
Yeah.
Last year, I think because they were doing that Pirates of the Caribbean program, he had grown his hair out and had facial hair, and
The programs never quite looked polished at all.
No, they looked very messy through a lot of last season, and especially early on, those programs were always coming apart. They look a lot stronger this season.
Yes.
He looks like 5 years younger, cutting his hair,
Wildly,
like
yes.
And it reflects in their performances. They just look more confident. They clearly know the material better. They feel nicely connected. They don't have the performance quality that Conti and Machi have,
no,
nor the explosiveness that Sui and Han have when they're on, like they were in the short program. But what they did have was really nicely consistent, strong programs, well delivered. They got a personal best in the short program with a 73.04 and a personal best in their total with a 207.28. So like I said, very, very close to Conti and Machi, which I don't think would have been the expected outcome here.
No.
So I think for the Hungarians, this is a really, really nice moment for them to finally kind of get into that like silver medal position.
Yes, I think it's fantastic for them. And also, like I said, I feel like they have rebranded themselves entirely. They look like they recognized at some point over the off season, we have to change some stuff because we're not going to make any progress, because they have been in that consistent like fourth place spot for quite a few years now. And it's that like, okay, it's time. They had to polish everything, and they did. And you can feel that they are really well trained. They are super consistent, and they're here to challenge. They're not going to just sit back and be like, oh, I guess we're just the middle of the pack team over here. It's like, no, they want to win, and that's obvious. And I'm excited to see where they go, because they've just taken a really solid step forward.
The same could be said, at least in the short program, for Wei Ying Sui and Kang Han from China.
That short program was a different team here. And I was so excited because it really was like, oh, there's Sui and Han for real.
So, of course, this is the reigning Olympic champion team, returned at the 11th hour for this year's Olympic cycle. The first time we saw them was a couple of weeks ago at the Cup of China, which it was really exciting to see them back on the ice, but they had not had very much prep time before competing there. And it really showed in the free skate. And you still see that here at this event. Of course, the controversy around that Cup of China performance, particularly in the short program, was that one of their lifts was technically a group 4 lift instead of a group 5 lift, which is just based around how the arms are held and how they're above his head. I don't know how to describe it exactly. But
yeah, it was like a level 5 lasso is what they're supposed to be doing. And what he did was like a level 4 push
It was a group
lift.
4 press.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And the judges didn't catch it. They gave them the group 5, even though that is not what they performed. And in that short program, that should have gotten them 0 points. They should not have landed on the podium. They should have been much further down because they would have lost an entire element. But the judges kind of gave them a gimme on that. And that was pointed out by a number of actual pairs experts online that they were like, that's not how that should have gone. Here, they did it right. So
yes,
they obviously fixed that problem. And that short program showcased all of the things that you would expect from Sui and Han,
yes,
which is incredible triple twist, fantastic throws, and
side by sides were strong.
Yes, very strong. And just that Sui and Han magic starting to reassert itself.
It's all starting to come together, and not for nothing, I'm not surprised that they got a few gimmies at Cup of China, especially upon reflection. Like, we all know that they're going to continue to get better as the season goes on, as they are working more on these programs. They have more time. And we already saw the difference in 2 weeks in this short program is light years, even though the score is almost the same.
Yeah.
It's like, no, this is what it's gonna look like, and it's only gonna get better from here is my expectation. So I get why they were doing it, because they're trying to make sure it's clear, like, they're going to the Olympics. Like, we all know that's happening. And I was just very impressed with how much progress they were able to make in 2 weeks.
Yeah, but the free skate is a lot messier.
For sure.
And left a lot of holes. And so they were in first after the short. They were 4th in the free.
They had one really scary lift again.
Yes, there was one that almost completely came apart, and they saved it.
They did.
But it was pretty nerve-wracking. So it dropped them down into the bronze position. So they've got 2 bronzes, which may get them into the Grand Prix final, but we don't know yet.
We shall see.
Yeah, there's still some time to figure that out. And they're about 5 points back from Conti and Machi in this in total. if there's anything I can really take away from them here is that you can see they enjoy skating together again.
Yeah, that was actually delightful to see.
Even when it looks like it's a little messy and coming apart, there's a look on Kong's face. I saw somebody say online that like Kong looks at Sway like a man who has been walking through the desert who's finally seen water. Like, and not like, I don't think like in a romantic way, but like just like you're starting to see like that enjoyment of doing that together really kind of blossom. They're really cute on the podium and they just have a fun energy in general. So it's not surprising to see them on this podium.
No.
I think it could have been argued that the Japanese team of Nagaoka and Moriguchi
should have
been on that podium.
I'm not even going to call it maybe. To me, it was like, no. Nagaoka and Moriguchi, I think, were my favorite team here, period. They are getting so good. And their free skate was not perfect. It definitely had problems. Their short program was awesome. Even though they were in fourth in the short, I just liked it better. I really like their short a lot. But regardless, not perfect, but have the best side-by-side sequence
of
anyone. It's like a triple loop, double axle, double toe, I think. Is that right?
It's something along those lines. But yes.
Whatever it is, it's phenomenal.
It is the biggest point getter of any combination of any pairs team.
Yes.
And they delivered it brilliantly.
And they're just getting so good. I cannot emphasize enough the change from last season to this season for this team. It is light years.
And they carried over that Yellow Brick Road short program from last season, but it looks totally different. Like it's
even though it's like
evolved so much.
Right. It's like even the same choreography just looks different on them. They've come so far. Yeah. So yes, I personally feel like they should have been in third place. And I say that as a huge Sway and Han fan. It's just they were better.
Yeah. And they've been sharing their training time both with Kathy Reed in Japan, which is an interesting choice because they're working with, an ice dancer. And I think you're seeing that in the quality of their movements. But they have also been training in that same camp that Pavlova and Svievchenko train at in Germany.
I think so.
And whatever has been done, it has just leveled up this team so quickly. The confidence that Sumitada has is so clear. He's so powerful. He's got great footwork. He's so consistent in the lifts and in the throws. It's terrific. Yuna is still the one that sometimes feels a little less confident, but you can feel that changing. And when they're locked in, it's really good. So
how has he only been a pair skater for like 3 years?
Yeah. Yeah. He was a single skater. Apparently he can still do a triple axel.
Sumitada.
Yeah.
So I am so impressed.
Yeah. I really like this team. They are making the
team.
come up so fast. And if it had not been the reigning Olympic gold medalists that took that third spot, I think that you really would have seen that flip-flopped. And I think that the Japanese team would have been on the podium.
Agreed. In fifth here, we see Alyssa Efimova and Misha Mitrofanov in their Grand Prix debut of the season. A 193, not a bad score. They had some issues kind of as you'd expect with the like side-by-sides. Alyssa definitely is. It's
just the landing of things is always struggling. The struggle. Their pairs elements are beautiful.
Yes.
Absolutely exceptional, but it's just landing the throws and the side-by-sides that are a struggle.
It is, sometimes. But I have a lot of love for this team, and I do feel like just as a partnership, they just keep getting stronger. So I'm happy to see them at least kind of hover in that top 5 here. I'd like to see improvement. Obviously, I'm sure they would too.
Yeah.
But regardless, I still feel like it's far from a disaster. It just wasn't as good as they can be.
Yeah, I think Cam and O'Shea's podium grab at their first Grand Prix this season kind of changed up the conversation a little bit.
It did.
Because we weren't sure how well Ellie and Danny were going to do when they reappeared, and they
killed it.
They were super strong. And, notably at that one, they had essentially, I think, their first ever clean free skate for camo.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that Efimova and Mitrofanov are going to have to work to like get those consistencies and landings, because that's where a lot of the difference happens for these teams. Yeah.
In 6th, right behind them, another American team of Emily Chan and Spencer Howe. I mean, only behind them by like 5-ish points, so that's not too dramatic. They continue to look stronger again. Like I feel like we're seeing more of what they have been in the past, but similarly struggling with those jumps.
Yeah, Emily had a lot of problems in the free.
Yeah.
I mean, they stay consistent in that 6th spot, but it's
iffy skating.
It's iffy. Yeah. And
Yeah.
and again, sometimes artistically it really comes together.
I mean, they're a great team. They're super strong.
But there's other stuff kind of happening in the American pairs as far as just like randomly like Chelsea Liu and Ryan Bedard suddenly kind of getting
at Ice Challenge.
At Ice Challenge, like winning that event, you know?
Over Audrey Shin and Balazs, who were silver there.
Yeah.
So
I don't know, man. Like the American pairs situation is definitely kind of fascinating.
It really is.
The handsome team from the Netherlands have pretty bad skates here and end up in a very distant 7th. And
it's heartbreaking, honestly.
It's really tough, but much worse is seeing the withdrawal of the French team, the Kovalevs, because
that was brutal.
Very early in their short program on their side-by-sides, Camille went down, and when she fell, she dislocated her shoulder.
My God.
That was the end of their Grand Prix event. We've seen Camille take a couple of really hard falls in the past. There was a really scary one a couple of years ago that really sticks with me as one of those, you know, you've got some of those particularly nasty falls. I think about like Ashley Kane, you know, at Worlds several years ago.
That one's
like that's triggering, right? Like that one's bad. And I always think of Camille in that one, but to have one here where like she visibly dislocates her shoulder, has to be helped off the ice, and they have to kind of make that decision. Can we get back on? No, we can't.
No.
And one of the frustrating things about it was that Pavel had to like go back out on the ice and then go to the judges. And by the rules, he has to go to them and say,
we are withdrawing.
We are withdrawing. She is injured. We're not going to be able to compete. And it's just like, that's his wife. You know, I'm sure he just wants to be with her while she's getting the care she needs. And dislocated shoulders, like they can be popped back in, and that they're intensely painful until they get popped back in. And usually that pain goes away.
It's just the muscles around the shoulder tighten.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And there are single skaters who have dislocated stuff on the ice, popped themselves back in and kept going.
Hello, Adam Rapon.
Yes. But they don't use their upper body in quite the same way.
Exactly.
A pairs team just can't do that.
That would have been so unsafe.
Yeah. So, oh my gosh, you hate seeing anybody come off the ice injured.
In that much pain.
Yeah, in clear agony. I felt so bad. You know, we've talked a lot about this team being one that's like, you said the phrase long in the tooth earlier. Yeah. That's kind of how I feel about the Kovalevs, like a team that's kind of in decline, sticking it out for this last Olympic season, doing it for the French team. And at times they deliver really fun skates that I actually enjoy quite a lot. It felt awful to see that happen here. And I don't know what that will mean for them for the rest of this season. Hopefully she's back up into competitive shape here really shortly, but God, just crushing. I felt so bad for them.
Sending all the good vibes their way.
Really rough note to end up on that. But
yeah,
overall, while there were a lot of fairly mid performances here at NHK, the things that you're going to remember from this event are a lot of standout, gorgeous performances.
I'm just going to remember Kaori Sakamoto.
I mean, this being Kaori's NHK swan song, it's hard to go out better than she did at this one. And obviously, she's going to be at the Grand Prix final.
Yes.
And ideally, we'll see her at the Olympics and
Japanese nationals
all that stuff.
Yes,
yeah.
As much as possible. But I have definitely found myself, like I said earlier, like shedding a few tears every time I see her at this point. I'm just like, no one else is Kaori.
Yeah. And Mark Henretti on the feed did not let us forget.
Oh my gosh. I love him. I love Mark, but you kept talking about it. I'm like, Mark, just stop.
And not just her, like pretty much every skater. He even was like, he's like, I don't know if Yuma's going to keep going. And I was like, you stop, Mark Henretti. Don't you dare. You keep Yuma's name out of your mouth when you're talking about not coming back next year. How dare you?
I can't handle it.
Yeah. But with all of that in mind, let's talk gold in our hearts. I think it's going to be pretty obvious, and I think it's going to be the same thing. But Wendy, who was gold in your heart for NHK Trophy?
Yuna Aoki.
Yuna Aoki.
Done.
It's Yuna Aoki.
She's everything. She's just everything.
Yuna Aoki in the blue dress from the La La Land Free is just a vision of perfect skater. Like, and obviously
I could watch it every day.
Yeah. And obviously, again, the jumps, the technical.
Don't care.
I don't care at all. I would, if move her into solo ice dance, and she could be the only competitor and I would go to the events, right? Like I just make a tour for her. I don't care. Like she is just amazing. I love her skating so much. She's effervescent. Put her on tour with put all the Japanese women on tour together.
Oh my God, just a Japanese women's tour? Oh my God.
How unreal would that be?
Like headlined by Kaori and Satoko Miyahara.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. This is an idea, people. Somebody out there back this.
If you want to just make money.
Or just bring joy to the people.
Yeah. And a couple of the guys can go as bonus, right? But like
I'm firm with come on, do you need them?
I mean, they're great, but yeah.
Like maybe Shoma can come.
Yeah.
And I say that selfishly because I just miss him so much.
Yeah. But yes, Yuna is terrific. Gosh, I'm going to watch those skates over and over again.
Love her.
I love her. I love them so good. And you did mention Satoko Miyahara, who was both a interviewer at this event, but also performed in the gala.
A gift to all of us.
Getting to see her is always great. And notably, in the women's medal ceremony, Midori Ito gave out the medals.
That was the other part. I'm so glad you remembered that because I started bawling. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, Wen was kind of a mess when Midori Ito walked out. Yes.
I'm not over it. Her like hugging Kaori after giving her the gold medal.
The crowd's reaction to her as well. There was even after it was done, you see the three women on the podium kind of look at each other and have that like, oh my God, there was Midori Ito. Like it's just beautiful.
It's
also
so
just that women's podium. I loved seeing them all together. Like it was really
the women's
sweet,
event was the women's event was definitely the event here to me.
All right, so we've got two left. What's coming up?
Skate America is finally happening.
Finally, weirdly, the event that normally kicks it all off
is now the fifth event. And so, that is happening in Lake Placid, New York. And we're going to get our first look on the Grand Prix at Jason Brown, which is very cool. Alyssa Liu will also be making her second Grand Prix appearance here. I believe we're going to see Chan Kim,
who hopefully will look stronger than we've seen previously. It's been a little bit of a rough season for her so far, but her new training situation seems to fit her really well. So hoping for bigger things.
Yes, her and Hanley will be here. On the men's side, we're also going to see Mikhail Shidorov in his second Grand Prix appearance. So hoping things have evolved in a good way for him because he wasn't quite at the level we were hoping for in the first.
Fifth Element program wasn't great last time. So
I know I'm hoping it gets better.
Looking for better stuff.
Yeah. And I think we're also going to see in the dance, we're going to see Chalk and Bates, which is great.
Curious to see if she still has that same dress or what changes they've made, because they've almost guaranteed made changes after the scores they got at that last event. This is Chalk and Bates. They always iterate. So what they do next time will be really, really interesting.
Overall, great field. And now, like you said earlier, we're starting to see everything kind of solidify into who's going to be on this at the Grand Prix final. So this will probably solidify a few more spots.
Yeah, as we lead into Finlandia, which will be this year's Grand Prix bloodbath.
Oh my gosh. That women's competition and the
ice dance. Oh my God.
Y'all, if you haven't looked at the lineup for the Finlandia Trophies ice dance, just take a look and it's going to be like, oh my God.
It's going to be crazy pants. That's going to be a nail biter.
Yes.
Too much is on the line at Finlandia. I'm not ready for that.
No.
So in the comments, let us know what did you like from NHK Trophy? What were your favorite moments? How did you feel about the podiums? Do you think that they shook out the way that they should have? I feel like there was less to argue about with the judging this
Agreed.
week.
It was just a little lower, particularly in the ice dance. But then you look at Kaori Sakamoto's 227 and you're like, well, it's not that low.
Yeah. But overall, it didn't feel... There were certainly some times where they called cues on things that didn't look like they needed to be called cues on, but it wasn't as egregious as some of the previous events. This felt more consistent overall. I didn't walk out of this one stomping my feet, angry at somebody, ready to throw hands at a judge or something. Overall, I may have preferred... There's just like three of the events I wanted to see like the third and fourth places swap, but other than that, I didn't have any big arguments. There wasn't anything I was going to throw a fit about. So how did you guys feel about that? Who was gold in your hearts? How are you feeling about the rest of this Grand Prix season? we're barreling into that Grand Prix final. So
coming on close.
Yeah.
Coming in close.
Yeah. So stick around with us for the Skate America recap and for Choreography. I'm Adrian Buskey.
And I am Wendy Buskey.
And we will talk to you next time.
Bye.